On the morning of September 11th, 2001, a man ran into the lobby of the North Tower, covered in dust, screaming that there had been an explosion beneath his feet. He wasn't alone. Others heard it too, felt it. Some were never asked about it again. We all remember where we were, the footage, the panic, the falling bodies, the towers collapsing live on TV. It was the day the world changed. But the thing about history is, it doesn't always stay where you left it. This isn't a documentary. This isn't an investigation. It's a guided descent into the layers of narrative, theory, secrecy, and symbolism that have followed 9/11 ever since. Some of what you're about to hear is fact. Some of it is speculation. And some of it is impossible to categorize at all. This is not about proving anything. It's about understanding why people keep looking. Viewer discretion is advised. This video contains discussion of mass death, graphic descriptions, and themes that may disturb or upset some viewers. None of what follows should be taken as absolute truth, but every piece of it exists somewhere in the story. This is the September 11th Iceberg. Tier 1. The known story. This is the part that's been burned into our collective memory. The planes, the towers, the fear. But let's walk through it in full. North and South Towers. The World Trade Center was a complex of 7 buildings. The Twin Towers, North and South, stood at the center. Built in the early 70s, they were designed using a unique tube structure. The exterior walls bore much of the structural load. That left the interiors wide open for office space. On September 11th, 2001, American Airlines Flight 11 struck the North Tower at 8:46 a.m. The plane hit between floors 93 and 99, instantly trapping hundreds. Fire engulfed the upper floors. Many stairwells were destroyed. At 9:03 a.m., United Airlines Flight 175 hit the South Tower between floors 77 and 85. The second impact was seen live by millions. Unlike the North Tower, one stairwell in the South Tower, Stairwell A, remained passable. At 9:59 a.m., the South Tower collapsed. It had stood for only 56 minutes after impact. At 10:28 a.m., the North Tower fell. In the rubble were 2,753 people. The dead included office workers, firefighters, police, paramedics, and people who had simply shown up to work. Flight 11 and Flight 175. Flight 11 took off from Boston at 7:59 a.m. and was hijacked around 8:14. The lead hijacker, Mohammed Atta, was mistakenly heard by air traffic control, making an announcement meant for passengers. "We have some planes," he said. Flight 175, also from Boston, was hijacked about 20 minutes later. It stayed visible on radar longer than Flight 11. Air traffic controllers watched in real time as it veered toward Manhattan. It hit the South Tower at an angle, causing the building to lean, then buckle. People watched live as the second plane struck, Flight 77 and the Pentagon. At 9:37 a.m., Flight 77 crashed into the Pentagon's western side. The plane had been hijacked by 5 men, including pilot Hani Hanjour, whose flight skills were later questioned. The impact zone was undergoing renovations, which meant fewer staff than normal. Still, 189 people were killed, including all 59 aboard the plane. Security footage showed only a blur, a white streak, before the explosion. The footage would be endlessly dissected in the years to follow. Flight 93. United Airlines. Flight 93 took off late from Newark at 8:42 a.m. The delay gave passengers time to hear about the other hijackings through phone calls. When the hijacking began, several passengers called family. Todd Beamer's final words, "Let's roll," were overheard during a call with a GTE phone operator. Along with other passengers, he stormed the cockpit. The hijackers responded by crashing the plane in a Pennsylvania field at 10:03 a.m. All 44 people on board died. It's believed the hijackers' target was either the U.S. Capitol or the White House. Osama bin Laden. The name most people remember. Osama bin Laden was the leader of Al-Qaeda. He had a long list of grievances with the U.S., military presence in Saudi Arabia, support for Israel, and sanctions on Iraq. In the first few days after the attack, he denied involvement. But in 2004, just before the U.S. election, a new tape was released. In it, bin Laden claimed responsibility. It was never clear why the change in tone, but the message was received. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, KSM. While bin Laden was the figurehead, KSM was called the mastermind. A Kuwaiti-born engineer, he proposed the idea of a plane-based terror attack as early as 1996. His original plan was even more extreme. 10 planes, multiple targets, and even the assassination of key figures. KSM was captured in Pakistan in 2003. He was waterboarded 183 times. In 2007, he confessed to planning 9/11, the 1993 World Trade Center bombing, and over 30 other plots. Man in red bandana. Wells Crowther was a 24-year-old working in the South Tower. After the impact, he put on a red bandana, something he always carried, and began leading people down the stairs. He kept going back up. Survivors told stories of a man with a red bandana, carrying people, calming them, helping them down. His body was found in the rubble, surrounded by others. Kevin Cosgrove and other calls from the towers. Kevin Cosgrove was on the 105th floor of the South Tower when he called 911. The last seconds of his call are haunting. He's mid-sentence when the tower collapses. Hundreds of calls were made. Some were recorded. Others were lost. Families were later played fragments. Most of the public only knows a few. Brian Clark and Stanley Premnath. Stanley was on the 81st floor of the South Tower. When the second plane hit, it crashed directly into his office. Somehow, he survived. Brian Clark was descending from the 84th floor when he heard Stanley's voice. He found him trapped behind debris, freed him, and together, they escaped. They were among the few who got out from above the impact zone. Jumpers. Hundreds of people above the impact zones were trapped. Some chose to jump. Official counts list around 200 jumpers, but the real number may be higher. They fell for 10 seconds. The footage was rarely aired. News stations stopped showing it. But the sounds of bodies hitting the ground, were heard by everyone nearby. Naudet Brothers documentary. French filmmakers Jules and Gideon Naudet were filming a rookie firefighter on a routine call. They accidentally captured the only known footage of the first plane hitting the North Tower. They followed firefighters inside. They filmed the lobby, the stairwells, the panic. Their footage would later become one of the most important documentaries ever made about September 11th. War on Terror. The phrase was coined days after the attacks. President Bush declared a global war on terrorism. Afghanistan was invaded. Iraq followed. The Patriot Act passed. Surveillance increased. Black sites were used for interrogations. Torture became policy. 9/11 memorial and rebuilding of World Trade Center. In the years that followed, a new tower rose where the old ones had fallen. One World Trade Center, completed in 2013, became the tallest building in the Western Hemisphere. Two large memorial pools mark the footprints of the original towers. The names of every known victim are inscribed around them. Survivor stories. Some people lived when they shouldn't have. Pasquale Buzzelli fell with the North Tower and woke up on a pile of rubble. He was badly injured, but alive. The miracle survivors were a group of people in Stairwell B who lived through the collapse. Among them were firefighters and civilians. They were trapped for hours. They all made it out. Salty and Roselle were guide dogs who helped their blind owners down dozens of floors. They never panicked. They never fled. Celebrity close calls. Seth MacFarlane missed Flight 11 because of a hangover. Mark Wahlberg changed his plans last minute. Michael Jackson reportedly had a meeting at the towers that morning but overslept. Small decisions. Random choices. All of them lived. This is Tier 1, the official narrative, the visible layer. The next tier starts to show the cracks. Tier 2, media, symbols and survivor mysteries. This is where things start to feel different. Not wrong, just off. You've probably seen some of this before, but you might not have known how strange it really was. Familiar images that don't quite sit right. Strange coincidences, and small details that never got a follow-up. The falling man. A single image, one man, mid-fall, frozen in time. Taken by photographer Richard Drew, it became one of the most controversial photos in American history. Some called it exploitative. Others said it was necessary. Newspapers that printed it got angry letters. His identity was never officially confirmed, but it's believed to be Jonathan Briley, a sound engineer who worked at Windows on the World. His body was never recovered. No one saw him fall. Just a still image, burned into our minds. Edna Sintron. After Flight 11 hit the North Tower, footage emerged showing a woman waving from the edge of the impact hole. She stood at the edge of devastation, signaling for help. That woman is believed to be Edna Sintron. She worked on the 96th floor. She stood at the boundary between life and death, framed by twisted steel and smoke, somehow alive in the epicenter of destruction. She was never seen again. Her body was never found, and for a while, no one even knew her name. Gwyneth Paltrow's sliding doors moment. Actress Gwyneth Paltrow was driving in Manhattan when she nearly hit a pedestrian, Laura Liddenstrom Clark, who paused, stunned. That pause made her miss her train to the World Trade Center. She arrived 1 minute after Flight 11 struck. That single minute made the difference. The encounter feels like something out of a film. A chance meeting, a missed moment, and a brush with death. Sliding doors, indeed. Steve Buscemi at Ground Zero. Most people know him from Fargo or Boardwalk Empire. Few know he was once a firefighter. On September 11th, he returned to his old firehouse. No press, no interviews, no cameras. He just showed up and got to work. He worked 12-hour shifts, digging through rubble, carrying remains, helping wherever he could. He later said the trauma stayed with him. He developed PTSD, but he kept it quiet. He didn't want to make it about him. Roselle and Salty, the guide dogs. 2 dogs, 2 blind men, 1 burning tower. Roselle and Salty guided their owners down more than 70 floors. Past fire, past debris, past chaos. Neither dog panicked. Neither stopped. They made it out minutes before the South Tower collapsed. One man wanted to leave his dog behind. The dog refused to leave him. They moved as a team. That's what saved them. No dead footage. Inside the lobby. After the first plane hit, Jules Naudet followed firefighters into the North Tower. What he captured inside the lobby doesn't look real. Debris was raining from above. Firefighters were checking pulses on people already dead. The building groaned. You can hear the second plane hit while they're inside. The footage is raw, shaky, real. It's one of the few interior records we have. A snapshot of panic, seconds before everything changed again. South Tower impact, 69 known angles. Unlike the North Tower, the second impact was caught on camera by dozens of people. Helicopter footage, tourist camcorders, TV broadcasts, random passers-by. There are at least 69 known videos of Flight 175 hitting the South Tower. That kind of coverage was never supposed to exist. It's almost too perfect, too visible, as if someone wanted it to be seen. World Trade Center 7 collapse. At 5:20 p.m., World Trade Center Building 7 collapsed. No plane hit it, just fire and debris from the towers. It dropped in under 7 seconds, straight down, like a demolition. 20 minutes before it happened, the BBC reported that it had already fallen. The building was still visible behind the reporter. The broadcast feed cut out shortly after. A glitch, maybe, or something else. The official story says fire weakened the steel. Critics say that explanation has never held up. Stairwell A. Most people above the impact zones didn't survive, but in the South Tower, one stairwell, Stairwell A, remained passable. It's how Brian Clark and Stanley Premnath got out. Dozens followed. It was the only intact path. In the North Tower, there was no such escape. All stairwells were severed instantly. Some say that's why the South Tower fell first. Less structural damage, but more people got out. August 6th. Briefing. A classified intelligence report titled, "Bin Laden Determined to Strike in U.S." was delivered to President Bush over a month before the attacks. It warned of potential hijackings. It mentioned New York. It even named bin Laden. The response was nothing. No follow-up. No increased airport security. No public warning. The briefing was declassified years later. Most people don't even know it exists. The ones who do wonder why nothing was done. Florida flight training. Several of the hijackers received flight training at U.S. flight schools. Instructors described them as poor students. Some couldn't land small planes. But on September 11th, they performed precise coordinated maneuvers. Banks, dives, accelerations, all on large aircraft. One of the schools they trained at, Huffman Aviation, had strange connections. Loose ties to past CIA activity. Anomalies in student records. No one followed up. Let's roll. Todd Beamer's last words before passengers fought back on Flight 93. It became a rallying cry, printed on t-shirts, used in political speeches. The phrase was turned into a brand. But the full recording of that call has never been released. Only fragments, transcripts, sanitized summaries. The real version, heard only by select family members, behind closed doors. Gore floor/hell floor. The South Tower's 78th floor, a sky lobby, was directly in the path of Flight 175. People were evacuating when the plane hit. It became a scene of unimaginable horror. Survivors called it the Gore floor. Blood, fire, bodies, no way out. In the North Tower, the worst fires were concentrated on a single level. Flames pouring out of broken windows. People visible through the smoke. One floor was burning so violently, people on the street called it the hell floor. Some said they could hear screams through the wind.